we're burning daylight.
Howdy there. I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Monday. Hope the weekend treated you all right. Boy, if you're over in California, I hope you're surviving this smoke. Boy, it's bad over here. I know you guys come to get used to having Boots on the show on Mondays, and I've become pretty accustomed to talking to Boots on Sundays, so been a couple of weeks since he's been on, but don't worry. Talked to him yesterday or today. I'm recording Sunday. You're hearing it Monday, but I talked to him. I was a little busy. We were butchered a beef. Had to run to town to get a freezer, and schedule didn't really line up. But I'm talking to him in tomorrow afternoon, so should be Wednesday. You'll have another session of stories with Boots, and I can't wait. I know you guys can't either, but I had to put something up for you on Monday. I know you guys come to expect it. I've come to expect it of myself, and I don't know if it means anything. I'm glad you guys keep tuning in. The show seems to be growing pretty steadily, and so like I said, I know you guys come to expect it, and try to put something out. But I kind of come up on a block. It's just one of those. Well, those things where if your schedule doesn't line up, and I'm, the Boots episodes they're easy for me. I just I ask a couple questions, and then I just sit back like a little kid listening to their grandpa, just tell stories, and I know that's kind of the beauty of talking with Boots is he's got so many years worth of knowledge to talk about, and good stories, and he's a good storyteller. And so I got to kicking some ideas around. I did a little research on just some cattle drives, and trying to make it a little more cowboy oriented. Been just a ton of politics here lately, and I just come up on a block. I was reading a story about Nelson's story, who was the inspiration for Woodrow Call and Augustus McCrae in Lonesome Dove. He was the first guy to take a cattle drive from Texas to Montana, and kind of turned into he settled around Bozeman, and it was later said by a historian that Bozeman was named wrong. They should have named the town Story instead of Bozeman. He kind of took over that place, but then just nothing was quite. Yeah, I'll probably tell that story one of these days. I'll do some research and get a little better grasp on it. But I just kept coming back to I'd scroll through Instagram to maybe get some more ideas. I just keep coming across these Afghanistan posts, and then you get sucked into the comments section, just seeing what the keyboard warriors are saying. And there was a post from Tim Kennedy. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is, but he's I think he's still in the army. I know he re-enlisted after Trump won, but maybe his and out. But he was a Green Beret, kind of an all-around American badass. I don't see eye to eye with him on the foreign policy stuff, but he's a guy that I think we can look up to as an American. I spoke with Clay Martin briefly, and who's somebody I align with a little more on the political ideology. But either way, they're both just good fucking Americans. And I just, you go through this post, and Tim Kennedy's been, he made a post, and got some flack for it. And, overwhelmingly, he's got positive comments on there. But sure enough, you go through and there's a bunch of people talking shit on him because he's over in Afghanistan and posted a picture with just wild, crazy hair, bloodshot eyes, and that it was like the first time in 7 days he had more than 2 hours of sleep consecutively. And he's working with trying to get some of the Afghan commandos and interpreters and people that we worked with over there for the past 20 years who are in real danger of probably losing their head once once this withdrawal finally concludes and everybody's out there, or everybody gets out, or at least when troops completely pull out and we're Afghanistan's left to Taliban completely. And there was a bunch of comments about, well, why aren't you worried about the homeless here in America? How come you're not worried about the southern border? Are you not worried about terrorists coming over? And I think there's some decent points being made there, but man, I feel like people are missing the forest for the trees, and it's not the first time. And I keep looking back at that whole situation and how we lost that war, and I go back to the quote, and I forget who the original quote is, but Joe Rogan says it all the time. Dan Holloway from Drinking Bros says it all the time. And it's hard times make hard men. Hard men make easy times. Easy times make soft men. Soft men make hard times. And I can't think of a more appropriate time where where soft men have made hard times. And then you got to put it in perspective. And I think the whole Afghanistan shit show has really put it in perspective for at least some people, that hard of times we're having here, man, we haven't seen anything yet. And I talked to whether it be Evan Hafer or Clay Martin or Jim Irwin, or even my buddy Miles, who's been overseas quite a bit, and then talking to some of the Mexican guys I work with and that I've made friends with over the years. And we've got it really easy here, but it is all in perspective, compared to 2018. It's pretty rough right now. I mean, man, trying to get a chest or a upright freezer took about an act of Congress. Just a year ago, till the meat cases were empty. I'm legit worried that could happen again. And so I not only do I think it's a good business opportunity to just keep some cattle on feed and sell some beef here locally. I mean, I'm I'm doing it more for my own family survival as well, because you never know when shit goes south. And it's always good to have some food reserves. And just that's one thing I think the Mormon religion, and particularly their leadership got right, is just being prepared. There's much as I don't agree with their doctrine or whatever, that's one thing I can is it was part of their doctrine and covenants or whatever, but like commanded by Joseph Smith or Brigham Young, one of the two. I think it was Joseph Smith, but to keep a year's worth of food and supplies. And it just, and then I keep coming back to everybody is, no matter what side of the political aisle or where you line up ideologically, everybody's just kind of disappointed in America. And and so what are we disappointed in? America, the landmass, there's nothing to be disappointed there. I mean, it's a beautiful goddamn country. America, the people, I mean, you could could say that. America, the government, for sure. If you're not disappointed by the government, then I don't know where you've been for the last ever. Uh, but then I come back to the people, and I talk to a lot of people. I don't anymore. I don't talk to a ton of people face to face. I live in a pretty isolated area. I work in a profession where I work alone most of the time, or with very few people, and I enjoy that. But I also enjoy talking to people. I enjoy the company of people. I also, I like to be alone. I like to sit with my thoughts. I like to learn stuff, and but more often than not, when I'm learning stuff, I'm learning about people in general, and a lot of times I'm learning about the people that helped build this country. Uh, People like Nelson's story that pretty well helped build Bozeman from the ground up. I mean, he wasn't there when it was founded, but became a huge part of that town and was the biggest employer of people in the town of Bozeman for close to 50 years or something like that. Started with you know, making a bunch of money in the gold rush up there, turning that into traded gold dust in for greenback dollars after the Civil War, and then bought a herd of Texas Longhorn cattle, drove them up north, and sold them to the mining community for pretty tidy profit. And you look through there, and like I said, I'll do a little deeper dive on Nelson's story. But guy did a lot of good stuff, but at the same time, he was kind of an asshole. And I find that's pretty commonplace throughout American history. There's a lot of people that did a lot of good stuff, also kind of an asshole. You could say the same thing about our previous president, Donald Trump. He's kind of an asshole. Did some good stuff, some other stuff not so great, but I wonder, like, what do we even view an American as anymore? Just because you're a U.S. citizen, um, I can't imagine that's just where it stops, and I think maybe that's where everybody's lost is like, well, what does it mean to be a good American anymore? Um, do you just back the troops, the military, and the police, and that makes you a good American? Well, what if our I mean, there's always cases of troops doing stuff that are maybe a little immoral, a little nasty, and more. There's constantly stories about the police doing it. The military in general is, especially when you're looking at your leadership, we're seeing plenty of reason not to support the military right now. And that doesn't mean the ground level troops. I think by and large, they're the most patriotic among us, and they're over there fighting for who knows what. But I think that the intent that they have is to help people to do good, and I think by and large our police officers the same way. But there's constantly stories of police doing stuff wrong. I mean, I just read an article the other day about a police officer that beat some black dude with an aluminum flashlight, hit him like 18 times, and they pulled him over for a minor traffic violation. Like, well, what good was that? And then of course you have the back the blue hardcore back the blue people that'll, well, if you're not doing nothing wrong, why are you resisting or whatever? It's the same old tired excuses. And then the end of the day, I don't know what exactly happened, but that shit shouldn't happen. And I don't know who was in the wrong, who was in the right, but I think anybody who can look at that case with an open mind and be honest with himself and say, well, that guy probably didn't deserve to get beat with a flashlight 18 times. and I forget what the term they used for to rationalize it, and like man, that doesn't seem to me to be a good example of what America is or what it should be. And then you look at the the Statue of Liberty, and on that it says, "Give me you're tired, you're weak, and you're poor." And America's supposed to be, it's a melting pot, and it's supposed to be that beacon of, as Reagan said, the shining light on the hill for people from around the world to look to and say, "Hey, I can get to America. I can do anything." Well, that's still the case today. There's a lot of illegal immigrants, pouring across the southern border. Granted, there's plenty of them that are maybe not coming over here for the right reasons, but I would say the vast majority of them are. I've worked with I don't know how many illegal, Mexican people, Guatemalan or Salvadoranian, and all those Latin America countries that, by and large, every one of them that I know is good good people. They're different culture for sure, um, different way they go about things, but at the end of the day, they work hard. They do jobs that most Americans don't want to do and won't do, and they do it for a cheaper wage, and they make it work somehow, and they still send money back home to their families. I see nothing about that is not noble. I mean, they break the law coming over here, yeah, but did you break the law speeding? The law is the law. If you're, as a lot of the conservative folks like to say, don't break the law and then you won't get in trouble. But how many of you have cracked a beer while you're driving home from work, and you know that's breaking the law just the same as coming across the border illegally? And what was the intention of you cracking a beer? I've done it plenty of times myself. Probably to unwind, relax a little bit. What was their intention of crossing the border? It's find a better life, you know, find a little bit of upward mobility. Most of those folks they're not educated enough to know what upward mobility means. They just know they want something more. And look at the thousands of people at the Kabul airport trying to get the hell out of there and get on a plane to America. I mean, what's their intention? A lot of people would say, well, maybe they're military age males, fighting age males. They're coming over here to do harm to America, and there's probably some of those, sure. But I'd say the vast majority of them, including the women and children, they want to get the hell out of Afghanistan because they know they have a better shot of making something better of their lives here in the good old US of A. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that could dispute that they're probably right. And there's always been, struggles with immigration, and you look at the Irish, they were hated. You look at the black community, shit, they were enslaved, and yes, I know the Irish were enslaved as well. But then even after slavery ended, there's close to 100 years where black people were still not treated as actual people, and you see the aftermath of that today, and all of these things are bad. But I don't think those. If you take each one of those particular instances, whether it be locking these kids up down at the border, which happened under 3 different administrations now, just the last 3, and you look at that and you say, well, that's what America is. Well, I don't think it is, but it's part of it. I don't think it's the whole story. You can look at slavery and say, well, that's what America is, and that's what America's bad, and that's seems to be more and more of a popular rhetoric nowadays. And I don't think that's the whole case. It's part of it, part of America. we've moved on. Well, tried to move on. Some people have, some people haven't, and some people weren't allowed to move on. You look at these inner city kids, and it's real easy to say, just, well, stop doing drugs, stop selling drugs, and you know, take care of your family. But do you really know their situation? And I just I don't even know what are we supposed to be doing as Americans anymore. I and I'm not trying to lecture anybody. I honestly I kind of want to know what people think we should be, because I think there is something to the rule of law, but how many of these laws sense? Um, allowing a cop to just pull you over because you have a tail light out, and then that gives them further reason to search your car or whatever, and then a minor, not even a traffic infraction. It's just a minor malfunction of your car can lead to somebody getting thrown in jail for years, and maybe several years. And well, that doesn't seem right. And so the rule of law in and of itself, that can't be all of what America is. Um, Limited government was one of the founding principles of America, and we've strayed from that a long ways. But even that in of itself, even in the most limited government, there's still injustice in the world, and even within that limited government. So that can't be all of it, but I don't know. And maybe it's just mind your own damn business, and live your life, and I'll live mine, and something I subscribe to pretty heavily. But I don't even think that can be all of it. I think, are we a Christian nation? I don't know necessarily that we are. I think that's part of it. Again, I think that's part of America. I don't think that's the whole story. I was brought up to on the belief that America was formed on Judeo-Christian principles, and I think to some extent that's true. But further you dive into some of the writings of the founding fathers, some of them are very devoutly religious. Some of them were not as much, and some of them subscribed very heavily to Christian doctrine and teachings and beliefs, and some of them not so much. Uh, so again, I think that's part of America, but I don't think that's the whole story. And I keep coming back to liberty. That the Declaration of Independence. You know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That I think that's the basis for everything that's good in America, and even that you can pick apart some of that, because it even after we won independence from Great Britain, that was a war fought by your average clerk, craftsman, merchants, and farmers, um, and sometimes freed slaves, and probably sometimes even actual slaves. Um, you know, but we won independence and still had slaves, so you can kind of pick apart some of the teachings there, and then you can also look and how that helped lay the foundation to abolish slavery. And so even those principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, those inalienable rights, that's part of America, but I don't think it's the whole thing anymore. And I do think that's the baseline that we always have to look back to. And sometimes that's inconvenient for us, because um, my liberty to say not get a vaccine, maybe that butts up against somebody somebody else's view that their liberty to be healthy lies in the fact that I should get vaccinated, and I don't know. We're just at a really weird place right now, and yeah, maybe this doesn't make any sense to you. It's not making much sense to me either, but not much of the last couple of years has made sense. I don't know. Are we living in a simulation? Is that what America is? It might be part of it. I don't know. Are we being controlled by some little Korean kid on a Nintendo Switch? Probably not. Possible, I guess, but sure feels like it sometimes. And I don't know. I guess for me is I kind of go back to a little bit. Like I said, there's part of America, all these things that pointed out or get pointed out as American, like the old saying is American is apple pie. I think life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, those inalienable rights, that should be the baseline for all of it. Um, I think slavery was a big part of America. And was it bad? Of course it was. It was terrible. Um, I don't think we need to keep harping on it, but I think we got to find some way to. I don't know. I same way as where you can't just keep harping on it and expect people just fall in line. That's the same way you can't just forget about it and dismiss the feelings of an entire section of the population as well. And I don't know what that answer is, but there's got to be some sort of answer. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. Maybe this experiment as America is a failed experiment. I don't believe it was. I believe it is, but boy, it's some weird and I say tough times, but then put it in perspective compared to Afghanistan or Iraq or Libya, Yemen, Syria. It's pretty damn good compared to that. So, relatively speaking, got it good, but relatively speaking to a couple of years ago, not so much. And there's a lot of talk if you listen to media and pundits and commentators and analysts about the great culture war that we're going through, and there's definitely something to that too. Um, whether it be censorship and cancel culture or whatever, they're just the transgender rights thing, woke culture, even those things like the people fighting for transgender rights. I think the people that are truly concerned about the health and well-being and welfare of transgender people have their hearts in the right place. But the fact that it's being shoved down everybody else's throat, I don't agree with that. Just the same way I believe and I support the struggle for the black community to what do you say, rise up and find equal footing in this country. And a lot of people say they do, but obviously there's plenty of those same black people that don't believe case, and I don't know what the answer is. And I don't know if there is a solution for everybody, but I know that this bullshit that we're living through now, I don't want that to be what my kids know America to be. I want my kids to know the America that helps your neighbor. That when say your car breaks down, I want them to know that there are people that will pull over and stop and help and say, "Hey, do you need a ride? Can I help you fix your tire?" Whatever the case may be. Hey, I want them to know that they see their neighbor out there with cows out or something. Get your ass off the couch and go help them, because that stuff comes around. If you're willing to help somebody, chances are they're going to be more willing to help you. And you know what? Even if they don't, the right thing to do. Even if that favor is not returned, or even only returned part way, it's the right damn thing to do. And that come from Christian teaching, part of it, but that's been taught since the beginning of time. If you look at the major religions around the world, they all have the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Is in pretty much all of them, even Islam. A lot of you conservative folks are wary of Muslims, and I was the same way myself. I still don't know very many Muslims, and I don't know much about the religion, but I know that golden rule part of it is in there. They all, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all come from same roots of Judaism, but there's something to that, just doing the right thing. And a lot of people are lashing out thinking they're doing the right thing. And like, you take the riots last summer, up the whole damn summer. Well, those started as protests of people marching for change, thinking they're doing the right thing. Of course, it ended in madness. I think that was a lot of opportunism, but same way with Capitol Hill riot. That started as people wanting their voice heard for something they thought that was injustice, wrong, and were trying to right that wrong, and thought they were doing the right thing. And that turned into a shit show. Well, and I know not nearly on the level of destructions on Minneapolis, Portland, or Seattle, or any of these other major cities saw these prolonged riots, but it all started from a place of good intentions. I know the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but I think we have to pay attention to the good intentions. Just as the looting and the rioting happened, I can't say that that's what the BLM or the Black Lives Matter movement is. It's part of it, just like slavery was part of America. I don't think that's what America is. I don't think that's what the Black Lives Matter movement is. You can have the argument about the leadership versus the movement, but I think if you look at the good intention behind that, and that's quality for Black people, and some sort of light being shined on police brutality and oppression, I think that's the good intention. You got to focus on that more than you. Not saying to ignore the other stuff, but same way the the whole QAnon movement. The intention was to expose the corruption and the evil people in government, and it spun into a riot that stormed the damn Capitol building. Which, yeah, say what you will about it. That's at the end of the day, that's probably not a good thing. Maybe it is, but people try to paint that as what the Trump, the Make America Great Again MAGA movement. Well, it's part of it. It's obviously part of it. They were there just chanting Trump's name. We're also chanting "Hang Mike Pence." That could be a discussion for another day. But if you're gonna hang Mike Pence for treason, well, he doesn't have the ultimate power, and I just, but paint that as the whole MAGA movement. That's not true. It's part of it, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with it. I guess, well, what does it mean to be an American anymore? I mean, we're fat, lazy, and selfish. And that's part of it. part of it. Um, are we a bunch of sheep that just follows blindly to the whatever the government says? Well, that's part of it too. And but I don't think that's all of America. And maybe I'm naive, but I like to think that America is the underlying part of America is good, and that's helping your neighbor, trying to get ahead. That's minding your own business and not pushing your beliefs onto somebody else. Um, whether that be Christianity or trans rights or Black Lives Matter or any of that, even living in government. Like, there's I don't know how many people roll their eyes when I talk about politics. I'm sure it's a ton. Um, but I think the more we focus on the bad parts of all these things, the more we miss the forest for the trees. And remember that they're all started with a good intention. And more we can focus on that good intention and try to find where the other side, maybe not try to stop putting it into sides, but try to find where people are coming from instead of just dismissing them as evil or bad or whatever. That's, yeah. I mean, I got going back to that Tim Kennedy post. There's people. Well, I don't even think they're legitimately angry at him. That's the way it comes across, and there's something to the old saying of you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. And I'm guilty as hell of saying something stupid or kind of snarky or sarcastic or mean. I try not to be mean, and I don't hold back a whole lot. But I do try to choose my words somewhat carefully. I don't enjoy getting to an argument. I love a good debate, so part of that is arguing. But I don't. I try not to enter into one of these debates with the intent of just owning. So there's times I do that, and kind of fun. But what good does it serve? If I know there's plenty of people that I'll make an argument and they'll agree with me because they have the same set of beliefs I do. But there might be somebody who's kind of on the fence, and if I go own somebody and just just really go scorched earth on them, well, they're the people that already believe what I believe. They're gonna cheer me on, but maybe somebody is just on the outside looking in. Well, there's like, well, that guy's just an asshole, so no need to listen to him again or those sets of beliefs. So what good did I do? Didn't win anybody over, and there's just there, but there's also that old saying that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, and there's a lot of truth to that too. Do words hurt? Yeah, they hurt your feelings, but guess what? You can get over it. You can get over it. No, my wife said some things that as women tend to do. They say some words that just really cut deep, and as a man, you just you can scream back at them. Can't hit them. I mean, I guess technically you could, but that's not how I was raised. But some of those things that women say, that if a man said that same shit to me, you'd punch him right in the fucking mouth. Can't do that to a woman. So what do? Stew on it, let it eat at you, or you can just get the fuck over it. Or you could also have a conversation about it. Hey, I don't like what you just said, and here's why. Spell it out. We don't do that anymore. I don't know. Rambling. Been a while here. I I guess for me, well, I want my kids to grow up in America where people are kind. You don't have to be nice all the time, but you can be kind. You can disagree with somebody without getting into a screaming match. You can say to each their own and move on with your day. You can be offended by a post on Facebook or Instagram and not get into a thumb war. Type in angry responses. You can scroll right the fuck on and get on with your day, or you can let that shit eat at you. You can call him a fucking moron and get nowhere, or you could have a rational conversation. Sometimes you can't, but you can at least try, or you can just move on. I don't know. I want the America my kids grow up in, somebody who will stop and pull over and help, especially somebody who obviously doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They got the hood up on their rig and they're just looking frustrated as hell. Stop, pull over, see if you can help. I want my kids to know that to leave a place a little bit better than they found it. You know, when you go camping, pack out all your shit when you're done. When you're fishing or when you're driving down the road and finish whatever you're drinking, don't throw the bottle out the road. Oh, and if you see some bunch of trash on the road and you got time, stop and pick it up. Leave places a little better than you found it. Be kind to people. Stress that all the time with watch what you're saying. It's what you're saying is meant to hurt somebody else. Probably don't say it. It's not the nice thing to do, it's not the kind thing to do, and it's not the right thing to do. We raise our kids under the Christian faith. That's not what Jesus would have done. Same time is that turning the cheek, the whole of Christianity. I think it's part of it. But Jesus also turned over the tax collectors' tables because they were fleecing the people. So not all of Christianity, but it's a part. And so I want my kids to be able to stand up for, up against bullies. Whether they are getting bullied themselves or if they see somebody getting bullied. Stand up for yourself, and stand up for those who can't help themselves. That was always what part of what made America great, I thought, and we just don't see that much anymore, and or as much, anyways. There's and maybe we're just not looking to find that. Start looking for the good things in people instead of what everybody's doing wrong. Going back to the Tim Kennedy post, yeah. Are there Americans still trapped there in Afghanistan? Yeah. Is there anything he can do about it? Probably not much, but he's doing what he can do to help the people that he cares about. I think that's a noble thing, and I think that's something to be applauded. Whether you agree with him or not, he's at least doing something that he believes in. I think that's one of the most noble things you can do, is helping other people because you believe in that. I think that's what the whole Black Lives Matter movement was started on, was helping people because it's the right thing to do. Descended into chaos. But I think the focus on the good intentions and not what it turned into, but get back to what it was focused on. I think there's progress to be made, and I think and it's funny is if you listen to the two sides talk, whether it be like the QAnon, stop the steal type people, Trump people, Black Lives Matter, they've got way more in common than you would think. That they would think. They would stop and listen to. That's another thing we can listen. Shut our mouths for one. I'm not good at that, obviously. I had a podcast 3 days a week, so pretty good at talking. But I like to try to think I'm good at listening too, and I think that's something we can all do a little better at. I don't know. So I guess I just that's what an American means to me. What it means to be an American: kind, help your neighbor, help people that are not your neighbor, help people out because it's the right damn thing to do. Uh, choose your words carefully. Listen instead of talk. And I think even on the libertarian side of things, we get accused of being just selfish and worried about money. But I'm worried more about liberty. But I think that you have some success. You have an obligation to help those below you that don't have that success. You have two hands, one for pulling yourself up, and the other one for helping the next guy up. And I think there's got to be more to that, and that's why I try to I'm gonna sponsor a couple bronc riders here this weekend, and uh, just because I feel like it's something I can give back to the cowboy community. If those two guys that I'm gonna sponsor, that's two entry fees they don't got to worry. They cowboy for a living. They don't make a lot of money, so but they're keeping part of our tradition alive by going and getting on a nasty old bronc and trying to win a little bit of money so they can have a little bit of fun, or you know maybe help pay some bills. Whoever, whatever the reason is for it, it's they're trying to do a little bit better. So maybe I can help them out a little bit. In the long run, does it make any difference? I don't know, but worth a shot. A little bit of something I can do. Just from the tests that I've had on this, I get to share Boots stories with. That's a person I think of as a real goddamn American. Humble. He's proud. You can tell he's proud. He's a proud man. He's not prideful. He wouldn't tell you about winning the all-around cowboy in his 50s if he wasn't proud of that, and he should be proud of that. He doesn't brag about it. He doesn't boast, and he helps people out. You see him, he's not on social media himself, but you'll see videos of him hanging out with the little kids because they look up to him, and it's because it's the right thing to do, teaching the next generation. So I don't know. That's what I'm gonna try to instill in my kids because I'm 30 old now, and I guess I am, almost 36. Track of time, but so my life's basically half over, and so what am I gonna do with the rest of it? Well, I've got two young kids that I can try to teach to be better than myself, and that's what I'm gonna try to do. And whether that makes any difference in the national picture or the world stage, probably not. But it might make a little bit of difference in my community, and then my kids' community further on down the road, and we'll see where it goes from there. But that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'll still talk shit on the internet, still tell a few dick jokes, and talk a whole bunch of politics because that stuff interests me and I think it's important. But I'm still gonna give you stories from Boots as long as he answers his phone, and if he don't, we'll find some more cowboys to tell you stories, and I don't know, try to make the world a little bit better than it was yesterday. That's about all you can do, I guess, and I guess that's what it means to be an American to me. Anyways, thanks for putting up with this mashed up mess of words that I've shoved down your ear holes today, but appreciate you guys tuning in. Pretty cool that you'll do. Anyways, appreciate y'all, and move your ass. Burnin day.